Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Interactive learning in discourse analysis. Interactive assistant interactive learning refers to an educational approach that emphasizes active participation, dialogue, and collaboration among students and between students and teachers. In discourse analysis, interactive learning is studied by examining how language facilitates interaction, co-construction of knowledge, and engagement in the learning process. The focus is on how teachers and students use language to communicate ideas, ask questions, solve problems together, and build on each other's contributions. Interactive learning environments, whether in physical classrooms, digital platforms, or blended learning scenarios, rely heavily on language to foster participation and engagement. Through discourse analysis, researchers explore how specific linguistic strategies promote interaction, encourage deeper understanding, and create a sense of community and shared learning. Interactive learning often breaks the traditional hierarchical teacher-student dynamic, allowing for more collaborative and student-centered experiences. Key features of interactive learning in discourse analysis. 1. Turn-taking and participation. Turn-taking is a critical feature of interactive learning, where students and teachers take turns speaking, responding to each other's ideas, and co-constructing knowledge. Discourse analysis explores how turn-taking is managed in interactive learning settings and how it influences participation and engagement. Example: in a group discussion, the teacher might say, "Let's hear from everyone in the group before moving on," ensuring that each student has an opportunity to contribute. Discourse analysis would explore how this approach creates a balanced interaction and encourages all students to participate, preventing domination by a few voices. 2. Collaborative dialogue and problem solving. Interactive learning often involves collaborative dialogue, where students work together to solve problems, discuss concepts, or explore new ideas. Discourse analysis examines how language fosters collaboration and how students use language to support, challenge, or build on each other's ideas. Example: during a math problem-solving session, one student might say, "I think we should try a different formula. What do you think?" prompting another student to respond with, "That could work, but we also need to consider this variable." Discourse analysis would investigate how this collaborative dialogue leads to a deeper understanding and shared problem-solving. 3. Questioning and inquiry-based learning. In interactive learning environments, questioning plays a central role in driving inquiry and engagement. Discourse analysis looks at how teachers and students use questions to provoke thought, clarify understanding, and stimulate discussion. Example: a teacher might ask, "What do you think will happen if we change this condition in the experiment?" encouraging students to predict outcomes and think critically. Discourse analysis would explore how this inquiry-based approach fosters active learning and critical thinking, as students are prompted to explore possible answers rather than passively receive information. 4. Peer interaction and feedback. Peer interaction is a core element of interactive learning, where students engage with each other to share knowledge, provide feedback, and collaborate on tasks. Discourse analysis investigates how language facilitates peer interaction and how students use feedback from their peers to refine their understanding or approach. Example: in a writing workshop, a student might say, "I like how you introduced your argument, but I think you could expand more on this point," offering constructive feedback. Discourse analysis would examine how this feedback influences the recipient's work and how the interaction encourages collaborative learning and improvement. 5. Negotiation of meaning. Interactive learning involves the negotiation of meaning, where students and teachers work together to clarify concepts, resolve misunderstandings, and co-construct knowledge. Discourse analysis explores how language is used to negotiate meaning and how participants align their understanding during interactions. Example: in a language class, a student might ask, "Does this word mean the same thing in all contexts?" leading to a discussion where the teacher and other students explore different meanings and uses. Discourse analysis would explore how this negotiation of meaning deepens students' comprehension and facilitates collaborative learning. 6. Supportive scaffolding. In interactive learning, scaffolding is a technique where teachers provide guidance and support to help students achieve tasks they might not be able to complete independently. Discourse analysis examines how teachers use language to scaffold learning, gradually withdrawing support as students become more confident. Example: a science teacher might say, "Let's break this experiment down. What's the first step we need to take?" guiding students through the process. Discourse analysis would investigate how this language provides structured support, helping students build their understanding and eventually take more control over their learning. 7. Use of digital tools and online platforms. In digital learning environments, language plays a crucial role in fostering interactive learning through tools like discussion boards, video conferencing, and collaborative documents. Discourse analysis explores how these digital tools shape the interaction and how students engage with one another in online settings. Example: on an online discussion board, a teacher might post a prompt like, "How does this theory apply to the case we studied last week?" Share your thoughts and respond to at least 2 classmates. Discourse analysis would explore how this language encourages not only individual reflection but also peer interaction and collective knowledge building in a digital space. Methods for analyzing interactive learning in discourse. 1. Conversation analysis. Conversation analysis focuses on the micro-level structure of interactions, looking at turn-taking, interruptions, and how participants respond to each other. This method is ideal for analyzing the flow of dialogue in interactive learning, revealing how students and teachers manage interaction and co-construct knowledge. Example: a conversation analysis of a group discussion might examine how students take turns speaking, how they respond to each other's ideas, and how the teacher facilitates or steps back from the discussion. The analysis would reveal how interaction patterns promote or limit student participation. 2. Critical discourse analysis, CDA. Critical discourse analysis, CDA, examines the broader power dynamics and social structures reflected in classroom interactions. In the context of interactive learning, CDA explores how language reinforces or challenges traditional teacher-student hierarchies and how it supports collaborative learning practices. Example: a CDA of an interactive learning session might explore how the teacher's language either empowers students to take control of their learning or maintains traditional authority by limiting student input. The analysis would investigate how discourse reflects or challenges conventional educational power relations. 3. Multimodal discourse analysis. Multimodal discourse analysis looks at how different forms of communication, verbal, written, visual, are used together in interactive learning, particularly in digital or blended environments. This method is useful for examining how students and teachers use both language and digital tools to collaborate. Example: in a blended learning environment where students use an online platform to collaborate on a project, multimodal discourse analysis would examine how students interact through text, audio, and visuals to solve problems and share knowledge. The analysis would explore how the combination of these modes enhances interactive learning. 4. Frame analysis. Frame analysis investigates how topics and tasks are framed during interactive learning. This method looks at how language frames a task as collaborative or competitive, problem-solving or exploratory, and how these frames influence student engagement and interaction. Example: a teacher might frame a group project by saying, "You'll be working together to solve this challenge. Let's see how you can use your different skills to complete the task." Frame analysis would explore how this framing encourages collaboration and positions students as co-creators of knowledge. Examples of interactive learning in discourse analysis. Example 1. Collaborative problem-solving in science class. In a science class, a teacher might guide a group activity by saying, "Work together to design an experiment that tests this hypothesis, and be prepared to explain your reasoning to the class." Discourse analysis would examine how students use language to collaborate, negotiate roles, and co-construct their approach to the experiment, emphasizing teamwork and shared responsibility. Example 2. Peer review in writing workshops. In a writing workshop, students might exchange essays and provide feedback using prompts like, "What's working well in this essay, and where could the writer improve?" Discourse analysis would investigate how students offer constructive criticism and how this peer interaction supports writing development through collaborative revision. Example 3. Digital interaction in online learning platforms. In an online course, students might participate in discussion forums where a teacher posts a question like, "How does this week's reading challenge your previous understanding of the topic?" followed by peer responses. Discourse analysis would explore how digital tools facilitate interaction and how students use language to build on each other's ideas in an asynchronous format. Example 4. Interactive questioning in history class. In a history class, a teacher might lead a Socratic seminar by asking, "Why do you think the revolutionaries made this choice? How might their decision have shaped the outcome of the conflict?" Discourse analysis would examine how this questioning technique encourages students to think critically, engage in debate, and interact with each other's ideas. Example 5. Group project discussions in business education. In a business education class, a teacher might assign a case study project, asking groups to develop a business strategy and present your findings to the class. Discourse analysis would explore how students collaborate through discussions, divide tasks, and use language to negotiate solutions, fostering interactive learning and real-world application of concepts. Challenges in analyzing interactive learning through discourse. 1. Capturing spontaneity and fluidity. Interactive learning often involves spontaneous and fluid interactions, which can be difficult to capture and analyze comprehensively. Discourse analysts must be able to identify the key moments where meaningful learning interactions take place and account for the natural ebb and flow of conversation. 2. Power dynamics in collaborative settings. Although interactive learning promotes collaboration, power dynamics may still exist, with certain students dominating discussions or taking on leadership roles. Discourse analysts must carefully examine how these dynamics play out and how they influence participation and learning outcomes. 3. Complexity of multimodal interactions. In digital or blended learning environments, interactions often involve multiple modes of communication, e.g., text, video, audio, which complicates the analysis. Discourse analysts need to consider how these different modes interact and contribute to the learning experience. Conclusion. Interactive learning relies heavily on language to foster participation, collaboration, and critical thinking. Through discourse analysis, researchers can explore how language shapes student engagement, co-construction of knowledge, and peer interaction in both physical and digital learning environments. By examining turn-taking, questioning, feedback, and collaborative dialogue, discourse analysis provides valuable insights into the dynamics of interactive learning and the role of language in creating inclusive, participatory, and effective educational experiences. Understanding the linguistic strategies that support interactive learning is essential for educators seeking to enhance student engagement and learning outcomes across diverse educational contexts. Frequently asked questions. What does discourse analysis reveal about interactive learning? Discourse analysis in interactive learning examines how language is used to facilitate participation, collaboration, and the co-construction of knowledge. It helps identify the linguistic strategies that promote or hinder active engagement, critical thinking, and effective communication in both traditional and digital classrooms. How is turn-taking analyzed in interactive learning settings? Turn-taking is analyzed to understand how speaking opportunities are distributed among participants. Discourse analysis looks at whether turn-taking is managed in a way that promotes balanced participation or if certain voices dominate, influencing the flow and inclusivity of discussions. Why is questioning important in interactive learning? Questioning drives inquiry-based learning, prompting students to think critically and engage in discussions. Discourse analysis investigates how teachers and students use questions to explore concepts, clarify understanding, and encourage dialogue, shaping a more participatory learning environment. How does discourse analysis help understand collaborative learning? Discourse analysis uncovers how students use language to build on each other's ideas, solve problems, and provide peer feedback. It highlights how collaborative dialogue contributes to deeper understanding and shared learning, revealing the effectiveness of pedagogical strategies in fostering teamwork. What is the role of peer feedback in interactive learning discourse? Peer feedback allows students to support each other's learning by sharing insights and constructive criticism. Discourse analysis explores how this type of interaction develops communication skills, enhances comprehension, and promotes collaborative learning by emphasizing mutual improvement. How does language facilitate negotiation of meaning in the classroom? Language helps students and teachers clarify and refine their understanding of concepts through discussion. Discourse analysis examines how participants use language to resolve ambiguities, align interpretations, and co-construct shared knowledge, which is central to interactive learning. What methods are used to analyze interactive learning in discourse? Conversation analysis focuses on turn-taking and response patterns to reveal how participants engage. Critical discourse analysis, CDA, examines power dynamics and the role of language in reinforcing or challenging traditional classroom hierarchies. Multimodal discourse analysis analyzes how different forms of communication, verbal, written, visual, contribute to interaction, especially in digital learning. Frame analysis investigates how language frames tasks and influences engagement. How does interactive learning discourse differ in digital environments? Digital platforms add complexity through asynchronous communication, multimedia elements, and different interaction styles, e.g., text chat, video calls. Discourse analysis explores how digital tools shape participation, collaboration, and the construction of knowledge compared to face-to-face settings. What are some challenges in analyzing interactive learning through discourse? Challenges include capturing the spontaneous and fluid nature of interactions, accounting for power dynamics within group discussions, and analyzing multimodal communication that involves a combination of text, video, and audio elements. How does understanding interactive learning through discourse benefit educators? Analyzing discourse helps educators refine their use of language to better facilitate discussion, enhance engagement, and support collaborative learning. It reveals how questioning, feedback, and dialogue contribute to student participation, informing strategies that promote a more interactive and effective learning environment.